Hello everyone, welcome to Dark Fae Tarot. You are joining me on a snowy evening in Brussels. Welcome to new subscribers, welcome back to those who already know me. So yeah, it is snowing, but it's that kind of slushy snow, you know, the kind where you're slipping around on the ground and it's not settling and then it becomes muddy and you know the whole drill. In the city, it's not very pleasant. I'm sure in the countryside it's a bit different. But anyway, this is what we have in Brussels right now. And I thought I would use this opportunity to film my review of Tarot Grand Luxe. This is a deck by Ciro Marchetti, hopefully I got that right. And it's a US Games mass market deck, retailing around the €20, $20 US mark, something like that. Prices are fluctuating, so by the time you see this review, that might be different. So anyway, I thought I would get on with it and look at this deck and just have a chat about how I kind of like used it, what I mixed it with, what oracles I mixed it with, and just generally my feeling with this deck and if you're interested in buying it. So as you know, Ciro Marchetti has several decks. He is a prolific creator. There's the Tarot Royal, what's it called? The Gilded Royal Tarot, which is one of my first decks. I used that deck, but I just never got along with it. And then I lost it somehow. And then I bought it again and I didn't get along with it again. So anyway, that didn't work out for me. Then of course, there's all his new decks that have come out. There's also the Legacy of Divine or something like that. He's just got lots of decks out in the market. He's got some new ones, which I've heard are amazing. But I wanted to work with Tarot Grand Luxe. There was something that was calling me to work with it. I'd seen it on several channels that were doing readings using this deck. And I just, yeah, something kept saying, try it. So I was like, okay. So yeah, it's one of these kind of like boxes where you just pull it off and it comes off like that, nice and sturdy. This is the little guidebook, which we're going to come back to later. And these are the cards. So yes, these are the back of the cards. And one of the reasons why I actually really wanted to work with this deck was the borders. So you can see straight away here, there's this beautiful border, and it's one of the big reasons why I wanted to try this deck. So we're going to flip it over, and I have put it back into order. So yeah, it is really shuffleable. It's that US Games. It's slippery cardstock, but it's very easy to shuffle. And we're going to have a look at the images first of this whole deck and go through it. So you can see here that it's got if you know Ciro Marchetti decks, you know that this is very true to his style. I really like the fact that it's got these, you know, that all the elements are there. He doesn't miss out anything. So if you're new to tarot, this is actually a good deck in terms of the visuals. Like all the elements will be there, what you need to see. So for example, with the High Priestess, you have the book, you have the pillars at the back. You don't have one black, one white. That is true. You have the crescent moon. That's like a halo this time rather than the crown that she wears. So yeah, there's a few differentiations, but you generally have very true to Rider-Waite-Smith. So if you're new to tarot and you want something that's a little bit different from the traditional RWS deck, but still contains the themes of each key, this is a really good alternative. I actually, you know, I think this would have been a good beginner deck for me perhaps, but, you know, this wasn't around the time when I started learning tarot. So, you know, it's good that I've got it now. I do like it. I think I will be using it again. I think it's great to use just for everyday readings. If you're a professional reader, great for beginners, great just as a palette cleanse if you want something different, refreshing and new. I really love the borders, like I said again. There's something about it that makes me think it's very traditional with fantasy vibes. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's why this deck works. Now just hold on one moment. I'm already overheating. So just give me a moment while I have to switch out my clothing. As some of you know, I am going through already my stage of perimenopause, and that means that I start to overheat within seconds of filming. I have no idea why it's so bad when I film, but when I start to film within about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, I completely overheat. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm standing and talking. So anyway, so here's our death card. This is not very traditional. So you can see here, he's deviated, but I still think it's a beautiful deck. I just think it's gorgeous and I find it very easy. I really love the detail. I actually have, I've tried his oracles. They didn't work for me either, like the one oracle he does have. But I do have his Lenormand deck and I really love that deck. So perhaps this reminds me a lot of the kind of detail that he used in that Lenormand, and that's why, you know, I've come back to this. Look at the way that shines. So yeah, yeah, I think yeah, there's something about this deck that just makes me think that it's easy to use. It's relevant. It's fun. It's not that scary or anything. And as you're going to see, it's a deck that pairs very, very quickly with other decks. It's very easy to pair it with Hay House decks or Llewellyn decks, Llewellyn oracles, or, you know, a plethora of different types. So again, you don't have to really, you know, go out and buy a lot or anything. This is one of those decks. But yeah, you can see this is just gorgeous. And I like the way that the images, some of them, they kind of like, they jump out of the card. You'll see it in some of them. I'll show you. And we had it a while back. Look at the clouds. Look at the lighting. Oh, look at this. Hang on, let me put this a bit closer. I think the light from here will help as well. I've got the Christmas tree lights here. Look at that. He does the quartz very, very well. Oh, look at the blue there. Oh, look at these. So yeah, do you have any Ciro Marchetti decks yourself? How do you find them? I don't have any of his, like the Mystic Palette or, you know, I'd love to get the Mystic Palette muted. I don't have any of them. I think one of the reasons why I hesitated was because when people bought theirs and I was watching on TarotTube, there had been some errors with the keys and stuff like that. And I know, I just thought I'll wait till they do a reprint of that deck before I buy it. So, and again, I love the borders on this deck. So I think my heart was set on getting this. I definitely would consider getting another one of his decks though. Look at that, see that paw coming. It just, I love that kind of detail where sometimes the, or there we have it there with that plant, where the key kind of like jumps out of the frame. There you go. You have that there with the swordfish. I love it. So yeah, you really feel like it's coming to life a little, you know, and it's coming out towards you. That's how I feel. So yeah, again, just the detail. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And he has introduced some diversity. I still think there's room for more, but there has been some diversity in his decks. I've noticed that with ethnicities a little bit. I hope it continues, let's put it this way. But, you know, I think he's also going for like a medieval theme, and I can understand how that can be at times a bit tricky, but, you know, we're looking at an era where we are mixing, so like different themes. So look at the face at the back there. And that reminds me of the devil that was in the earlier cards. Okay. Beautiful Page of Swords. Oh, yeah. There we go again. Love that queen. Here we have, oh, beautiful. Look at that. Yeah. Okay, and here we are already at the Pentacles. Oh, yeah. This reminds me a little bit of the 8, but this is the Architect's card. The Architect. Okay. Yeah, I really love this. Oh, I love this card. Look at that bounty. Here's the 8. Here's a 9 with the falcon. Here's our 10. Oh, that's beautiful. Here's our page. Oh, look at the green and the deer. Here's our knight, our queen. She looks a bit like Carrie Fisher. And here's our king. Okay, so again, the detail. So let's give these a shuffle. Like I said, just such an easy deck to use. Just so easy. I'm not very good with the shuffling, but there we go. Just do a little bit of it. If you're a good riffle shuffler, then you'll find this deck very easy to shuffle. It's a bit slippery, but it bends easily. It gives. This is one of those decks that I look forward to having it worn out. I think it will look even better once it starts to wear. And okay. Hopefully that gives it a bit of a shuffle. Oh. Okay, this is where we start off with the 9 of Cups. Okay, so let's look at the guidebook. Now, one thing I have to say about this deck is that I personally found the guidebook fall short a bit. So let's take the 9 of Cups. It's a very small guidebook, and I will say that if you're a beginner to the deck, I would recommend having a proper tarot book. Sorry, if you're new to tarot, having a proper tarot book to accompany usage of this deck, because I do feel that the guidebook falls short. Let's look at the 9 of Cups. Here it is. It says, the figure invites us to join him in celebrating and expressing gratitude. Together, let's toast to whatever you can fill in the blank. You fill in the blank, a job well done, an endeavor fulfilled, or a general good news. Cheers. Now, you might think that's something, but there's some cards, let me try another one, fall really short. So here's the 10 of Wands. Let's see what it says for the 10 of Wands. The elder figure is shown carrying a heavy load and a burden for sure, but the pose is still ambiguous. Has the weight of those wands finally brought him to his knees, or having taken respite, is he now raising to continue forward? Yeah, this, oh, look at the beautiful corgi. I just saw that. There's something about it where I don't feel like the guidebook really does it justice. To be very frank, the key. Sometimes I feel like there's a more discussion of the art style than the actual key. For example, with the Hierophant, maybe I can find it here. You know, let me try and find this because I'm giving examples. Or maybe it's with the Hanged Man, we can see it as well. I don't know. Let me see. See, sometimes he kind of like goes into, he says for the Hanged Man, he says the Hanging Man. The colourful decorative leggings might suggest that the man hanging this card is none other than our Fool. If you discount the Fool card number as 0, then the Hangman card 12 can be seen as a halfway point along the Fool's journey through the major arcana. The idea of the hangman has evolved from a medieval form of punishment to come to mean to a form of voluntary, if uncomfortable, meditative pause. From this inverted position, he can contemplate his circumstances, his past and possible future from a different perspective. The red thorns are a token reference to the Marseille rendition of this card. I feel as if sometimes the author is more giving his version and his thoughts of the key rather than a full in-depth meaning of the key. And so for that reason, I think the guidebook is great, but if you're new to tarot, I would strongly recommend having a tarot book to accompany you. So I am going to say that for the guidebook. So let's get into how I paired this deck, because that's quite fun. So one of the decks that I used was the Dragon Wisdom card by Oracle by Christine Arana-Feder and illustrated by Ania Kostka. Okay, so I had come across this deck on Amazon a few years ago and I bought it, or maybe last year I bought it. And, you know, it was a really good price point. So I picked it up and I have to say I really love this deck. And it was great working with it. So if we have a look, you can hear we've got Mirror and the 5 of Cups, Temple of the Sun, and we've got the King of Pentacles, the King of Coins, Page of Wands and Air Chalice. You can just see this deck, these decks, they just shadows, and 10 of wands. So these decks, I think, really just did work well together. And once you go into the meaning of this deck and its guidebook, it is quite in depth. So that's one of the pairings that I used. Sorry, I'm going to have to move on a little bit here because I can really feel myself already not being able to do much because of the heat that's coming out of me basically at this moment. That's the best way I can explain it. So that was the Dragon Wisdom Oracle. Then the next one we have here is the Soul Helper Oracle, also by Christine Arana Fader, illustrated by Elena Dudina. Okay, another mass market Oracle deck, and it comes with its own guidebook, and these are the backs, and I really, really love this. This is very much a fantasy deck. So here we have courage, and here we have the Hanging Man, or dream and, death, not dream, death, and release your creative energies, make use of them in your life. Wow. Okay. Temperance, and the Tree of Wish is calling your name. It's about forgotten wishes. Or the love of your dragon reaches out to you, and this is the Devil. So really interesting messages here, and you can do a lot with these two decks as well. Okay. And then the next deck that I used, and like I said, I didn't buy any of these oracles, by the way. I literally went along my bookshelf and just looked for whatever I could pair. So the next deck that I used is one of my classics, which you all know, is Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reid. And I knew, again, that these two would go well together, and they did. So let's have a look at these two now. So again, this is the Royal You. And here we have the Five of Coins. Beautiful uncaging, and the Six of Coins. And then we have the Seven of Coins and Body and Soul. Yeah, I have mixed them enough. Okay, so now we have the Seven of Cups and the Storyteller. So I really love this because, again, it really taps well into the fantasy vibes. And then the last oracle that I used with this deck, and you can see now how easy this Tarot Marchetti deck is because it just goes with so much. And then the last oracle I paired it with is my Spellcasting Oracle cards by Flavia Kate Peters and Barbara Michael John Free, artwork by Lisbeth Cheever Gesserman. And I forgot to mention the artist for this one is Jenna Della Crotaglia for the Oracle of Seven Energies. Okay, so for the Spellcasting Oracle cards, these cards, again, I just felt that they go so well with like this fantasy style. So here we have Forgiveness, and here we have the Seven of Cups. Wow. So that was I forgot, that was the Six of Cups, not seven. Wow. Commitment and the Six of Swords. And look at that. Just beautiful. Let's skip forward a bit here. Boundaries. Oh, these are upside down. Hold on a second. Let me just... No, they're a little bit of a mess right now. Okay. Five of Wands and boundaries. Wow. Again. And then we have closure and the Six of Wands. So this is a victory card. And let's do one more. Animals and the Fool. So doesn't that remind you of the journey? Wow. Okay. So you now have a really good idea of this Tarot Marchetti deck, which is, and this has got to be a really good review because it's short now, but which is this Tarot Grand Luxe. I really loved working with this deck. I really believe that it's a great staple deck if you want one for your collection. It's great if for the average, everyday tarot user. So, if you need something for your readings and you want to just shake it up a bit, I definitely recommend a deck like this. That's a nice, interesting. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to make sure that we have a good, but they're all a bit messed up right now. There we go. So you get an idea of this deck. It's just beautiful. I love the fantasy vibes. Great on the price point and good for beginners, but you do need to have a separate guidebook, I think. If you're well versed in tarot, I believe this is a great price point to just add something new to your collection to use if you want to use that for client readings. And of course, it goes with so many mass market fantasy style oracles if you want to mix it in with them. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. Thank you everybody for watching. I'll just check if there's anything else to add, but I think we've done everything. And yeah, join me for the next review. Until then, take care and have a wonderful week wherever you are. Bye now.